In the gospel story, Jesus comes eating and drinking. We talked about that in a previous video. He goes from feast to feast. He goes from house to house. He is often guest at these houses. He takes over the table, though, when he's welcomed as a guest. That's what belief in Jesus is. You're receiving the incarnate Son. You're receiving the incarnate Word. You receive him as a guest, and then becomes the host, turns the tables, as it were, and he becomes the host to those to whom he's guest. But as he goes from table to table, he doesn't just eat and drink with these people. He eats and drinks with sinners. He eats and drinks with Pharisees. He eats and drinks with everybody. But he doesn't just eat and drink, but what happens at the table becomes a moment of teaching and a model for discipleship. Jesus sits down at a table, and he sees people jockeying for position at the table. And he gives instruction about taking the lowest seat at the table, humbling ourselves and not playing the honor game of trying to get close to the host, close to the person whose glory and aura can rub off on us, getting close to the person who can advance our career. That's the kind of jockeying he sees at the table. That's not how we behave as disciples. We take the lowest place. Or he looks at the people that surround him at a table, and he says, when you give a feast, don't use the feast as leverage to receive an invitation to a future feast. Rather, when you give a feast, extend hospitality to those who are in the byways and in the alleyways, those who can't repay you, and your Father will repay you. That experience at the table becomes a model for discipleship, an occasion for instruction about discipleship. Or he goes to the house of Mary and Martha. Martha, of course, is bustling around trying to make sure that the food is ready and everything's prepared and everything's right. Mary seems to be lazing around just listening to Jesus. But Jesus commends Mary and says that Mary has chosen the better course. She's chosen the one thing necessary. I think in context what Jesus is talking about is Mary's attention to the guest. The divine guest has come to the house, and Mary's too busy to even listen to him. There's a lesson about discipleship that's embedded in that experience of a meal. A woman at a feast pours out perfume on Jesus' feet and on Jesus, weeps on his feet, wipes his feet with her hair. And Jesus says, "This woman is forgiven much because she has loved much." Again, a feast becomes an occasion for teaching on discipleship. That's true all the way through the Gospels, particularly prominent in certain parts of Luke's Gospel. But the Gospels are continually doing that. Jesus uses the table as a model for discipleship, which is only fitting that the kingdom of God is a feast. If we're in the kingdom of God, that means we have a place at the table. Discipleship, following Jesus, is about learning a set of table manners, the table manners of the kingdom. Table manners that involve attention to Jesus, the heavenly guest, that involve taking the lower place, that involve guest lists that include those who can't repay us by inviting us back to their house. And those aren't just metaphorical kinds of teachings that Jesus gives. These are things that Jesus wants his disciples to practice in our hospitality, and so that our table becomes modeled after the table of Jesus, and our table becomes a model of discipleship that Jesus calls us to.